Hey everyone, Wet Melon here. I have something a little special for you today. Now this video is intended for the Reddit and the NASA Spaceflight.com communities, as well as anyone who is a SpaceX fan or just someone who is simply interested in space flight. As you may know, the next SpaceX launch coming up on March 16th is going to be the first one that includes the landing legs for the first stage. And they're going to attempt a boost back and recovery of the stage. Unfortunately, they have to do a water recovery until they prove that it works. But they are, in fact, going to try to recover the first stage by flying it back to the landing site at some point. And today's video, I'm going to try to demonstrate this for any people who have trouble visualizing the flight mechanics of how in the world you stop a speeding bullet and bring it back and land it safely at the launch pad. And to help us today, we have Kerbal Space Program. Yay! Now, a lot of you may be saying, oh, geez, Kerbal Space Program. Okay, it's neat, but it's not very realistic. Well, I have some mods to help us with that realism today. For one, and most importantly, we have the Real Solar System mod. Now, this mod upscales everything in the solar system and reassigns it all to closely match the real solar system that we live in. So the Earth is the correct size, the Moon is the correct distance away, it takes 9,000, 10,000 delta V to get to orbit, it takes the right amount of time to get to orbit, Mars is the right distance and the right size and the right gravity and all that fun stuff. And some of you may know that Real Solar System upscales Kerbin, but you still launch from the Kerbal Space Center at 0 degrees latitude from the equator, and it's easy to get to orbit and get to geostationary, geotransfer orbits, and not a problem. Until now! Nathan Kell has actually released a 6.1 alpha, and he has done something very special. He has managed to make the Earth the Earth. The only thing he hasn't managed to do is actually give it axial tilt. However, you may see that we are in fact at the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. And we have some nice pretty clouds from another mod. The United States, Canada, go Canada, Mexico and Central America, South America, Africa, Asia, Europe, all prettied up here. And most importantly, if I flip on these menus, you look in the top right, you'll see our inclination, our starting inclination is 28.609 degrees. Not 0 degrees, 28.6 degrees. Now Google tells me that Cape Canaveral is in fact at 28.445 degrees or 45 degrees, but this is close enough for government work. And it's way closer than 0 degrees. So if you're interested in getting a new challenge, check out this mod. To go with it, we have a few other mods. We have, first off, Ferrum Aerospace Research by Ferrum 4. Real Solar Systems by Nathan Kell, by the way, if I didn't mention that. And FAR, Ferrum Aerospace, whatever you want to call it, replaces the stock drag model with a much more realistic drag model. I don't know if it's 100%, but if you don't have fairings and you don't make a rocket how a rocket's supposed to look, you're not going to get to space today. Most importantly, it calculates dynamic pressure. It figures out our angle of attack and side slip angle. It introduces lateral forces on the rocket, and if you're not flying at roughly a 0 angle of attack profile, you're done for. So atmosphere is realistic, Earth is realistic, we're at the right inclination. Now we need to start looking at the rocket. So to help with that, we have we have a special pack by LazeTech with the SpaceX Falcon 9 built for us here. It is in fact 3.66 meters. The dimensions are all roughly correct. It has legs which extend. It has the Dragon spacecraft. It has the fairings. It has the everything. And it's gorgeous. In addition, we have a mod called Real Fuels. And if I go up here to resources, you can kind of get a quick indication of what Real Fuels does. It adds the real fuels. So you can see we have nitrogen tetroxide, we have hydrazine for the Draco thrusters, I think, possibly the Super Draco thrusters up in the Dragon spacecraft. We have liquid oxygen, we have kerosene, and we have nitrogen for the coal gas roll control system, attitude control system. As part of that same mod, the engines become more powerful and lighter. All the engines in the whole game are rescaled to be realistic. All the tankage in the game is rescaled to be realistic. The densities of the fuel is realistic. The quantities are realistic. And if you look over here, we're sitting at almost 508 tons with a Dragon spacecraft on top. I haven't double checked that fully loaded number, but I have checked empty. It sits right at 20 tons, 21 tons, somewhere in there. So it's pretty darn realistic. The fuel flow rates are also accurate, as is the specific impulse. You may know in stock Kerbal Space Program there's a slight problem with the specific impulse where it changes the efficiency as opposed to the thrust of the engine as you increase in altitude. So that has been fixed. I'm trying to think of anything else that we need to talk about. I can't. If you have any questions, PM me or leave a comment on the Reddit or NSF post or on YouTube. And what we're going to try to do today, we're going to fly roughly a Falcon 9 profile, which I have sitting in front of me here. And we're going to have Miko. We're going to let the second stage light up and take off. And then we are going to take control of the first stage. We're going to flip it around. We're going to conduct our first burn, 3-motor burn. We're going to come back into the atmosphere. We're going to slow down and let the atmosphere do our aero braking for us. And then finally we're going to try to land as close to the launch pad as humanly possible. Oh, that's the other thing. I do have MechJeb and we do have SAS. Unfortunately, I have a mod that allows the symmetrical motors, symmetrical engines to generate a roll torque. Stock Kerbal Space Program doesn't actually do that. It'll only gimbal pitch and yaw all the motors together. And this mod allows for a roll control in the motors, which is wonderful when I'm trying to deal with a vehicle that has, for some reason, inherent roll characteristics. I don't know why it wants to roll all the time, but I think there's also, you're also playing with gimbal lock. Either way, this mod actually confuses the hell out of MechJeb and SAS and causes them to try to maximize your roll at all times. So I'm going to be flying this by hand, which is probably good anyway because MechJeb doesn't like Ferrum Aerospace all that much either. So we are going to try to fly as close to the zero angle of attack gravity turn as possible. And without further ado, let's have at it.